Hello and welcome to You Should Be Watching. Today on You Should Be Watching, exclusively in the field, if that's even a thing, you should be watching Interstellar. Let's be honest, you probably know what Interstellar's about. You probably know who's in it. You probably know who directed it, so I don't really need to fill you in on all that details. What I do need to tell you is that it's fucking amazing. I'm sorry, but I'm just still getting over the amazingness of it. Because, oh my god. It's just, words fail me, really. It's fucking amazing. Just, we'll leave it at that. No, I can't leave it at that. I have to elaborate somehow, okay? The soundtrack is exquisite. I mean, it is Hans Zimmer, so you would expect so. What else? The direction is very Christopher Nolan-y, obviously, but it's different in notable ways, though I can't exactly express exactly how. You can tell by watching it. And the story goes places that are just mind-boggling, and the ending is just, it's the way that it gets to it is like just, and you'd think that it would be absolute codswallop, but if Neil deGrasse Tyson says that the ending is fine, then I guess that is fine, you know. So yeah, and it leaves you breathless in certain points, and leaves you very teary-eyed, if not full-on crying, if you're not an emotionless automaton like I am, and just, yeah, go see it if you haven't already, although I've only just been able to see it because it was my last chance to see it on this very day, this afternoon. So, get it, catch it while you still can. Or if not now, wait until the DVD, Blu-ray, whatever. Because it's not one of Christopher Nolan's best films, the best film that he's done so far. Not exaggerating, just fact. Or at least opinion, mine opinion. Because you'd probably disagree with me because, film criticism, everyone has their opinions and everyone agrees or disagrees. But I would say that it's brilliant. I would say that it's nigh on perfect. Not entirely, there are definitely flaws, don't get me wrong. Sudden location shift. It's almost as if maybe someone was behind me as I was still filming and I didn't want to embarrass myself by talking in public in front of people. Yeah, well, just skip over that. But the point is, the film, no matter what the flaws are, and there are a few, more than a few if you have to be very nitpicky, which you can be if you want to be, it still emerges as a product of its flaws, emerging as utterly transcendent. Which is ironic, because Christopher Nolan's former DP, Wally Pfister, directed the film Transcendence, which, well, everyone said it wasn't anything like what its name wanted it to be, So, yes. The point is, the film is beyond words. The ambition of it and the scope of it is just way out there, and Christopher Nolan has as much heart as he has brains. He has the full Wizard of Oz package, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it. It didn't feel like nearly 3 hours. It felt just perfectly pitched, at least to me. So, yeah. In conclusion, 5 stars, or whatever my rating system would be if I had one. But we'll say 5 stars for now. Just infinity stars. 5th dimension stars. So many stars they just go into a wormhole and shit. Yes. So, yes. That is my review. Thanks for watching, and bye. Oh yeah, and it's Christmas. Can you tell? Can you tell? Do you think you can tell? It is a pretty trio, gotta say. Hey, You know the guy that plays Captain Kirk in the current iteration of Star Trek? Do you think there's a tree somewhere made entirely out of the actor that plays him, and it's called a Chris Pine tree? That is the obligatory awful pun out of the way for today. Yes. So, you've ventured this far into the video, perhaps travelling through a wormhole or two, and maybe suffering the effects of relativity in some way or another that is probably very emotionally devastating. Emotionally. Point is though, you have now, I must warn you, come into the spoiler zone. No one would have believed in the last years of the 19th century. No, wait, no, that's War of the Worlds, sorry. Yes, so you come into the spoiler zone. This part of the video is reserved for those who have either seen the film or those who don't care about seeing the film and thus don't care about hearing spoilers. Either way, this bit is for you. And with that, we can now talk about Interstellar in far more depth than we could if we were in the non-spoilery part of the review, which we already have done in the bit when I was in the cinema itself after having just seen the film. That was fun, trying not to have other people see me talking into a camera. Yes. But regardless of that, what am I discussing here right now? Well, Matt Damon was in it. Matt Damon! Sorry, I know, but you mentioned Matt Damon, it kind of feels obligatory to have to do the Team America reference. Well, you don't have to, it feels good to do so, you know? At least for those of a certain generation who grew up watching Team America anyway. But yeah, Matt Damon was in it. And he tried to kill Matthew McConaughey. Not cool, bro. Not cool. And then Matt Damon was blown up as he was trying to enter the Endurance, and then it led to the whole spinning dock sequence. Fun fact about that, I've been hearing a lot about the spinning dock sequence in the weeks leading up to me actually seeing the film, because there's been this whole thing that I've seen about the music used in the spinning dock sequence, and people want to really hear that music and a proper version of it, and there's all this stuff going on with it. And Hans Zimmer, he didn't release the music for that scene in the soundtrack release, but enough people made enough noise about wanting to hear that music that he did release that scene's score cue, got the words out eventually, in the deluxe edition on iTunes as a bonus track for free. Unless you hadn't already bought the album, then you did have to buy it anyway. But the point is that he did eventually release it, but apparently it still wasn't the absolute correct version, and whatever. It's a big, weird world, the soundtrack world, for those who are as obsessed with it as I am. Actually, I say obsessed, but there are people more obsessed with soundtracks than I am, and getting them right, having the complete works of music for a film, you know? And with Interstellar, especially more so, and with Hans Zimmer stuff in general, it's been the way it's been for ages. And I've been hearing a lot about the docking scene, and I was like, what is this docking scene about? And so I couldn't wait to see what that was, and it was intense. But of course, that wasn't the most intense scene in the film. Oh no, there was the bit where Matthew McConaughey checks his messages after being on Miller's planet for 3 hours or so, comes back onto Endurance, and it's actually been 23 years because relativity. And finds out that he's got 23 years worth of messages waiting for him. Also, fun fact, 23, I think I've mentioned it before, used to have an obsession with it. Explains why I'm called the 23rd Joker in various places on the internet. And yeah, kind of made me giggle afterwards, thinking, oh, it's 23 years, eh? Funny that. But yeah, Matthew McConaughey looks at the video messages of his kids as they're growing up through the years, while he was just gone for a few hours, and he cries his little eyes out, and it's like, Matthew McConaughey, don't! The feels, you're hurting me, killing me, crying tears. And, you know, that's an Oscar-worthy performance right there, because it's so raw, that performance right there. And I know he already won because he did Dallas Buyers Club and stuff. And it also reminds me of whenever the trailer for Interstellar came out and it showed what the wormhole looks like, and it's the sphere in the middle of space. I just couldn't help thinking, kind of reminds me a little bit of True Detective and him saying that time was a flat circle, as in Matthew McConaughey. And it kind of made me want to make jokes about, I wonder if in Interstellar he'll at some point crush a beer can between his hands and say, time, it's like the circle here, and stuff. And many other True Detective jokes, because that's the kind of thing that I like to do when I'm as geeky as I am, and I watch as much TV and films as I do, because I like to make intersecting jokes and make connections between stuff, and my brain never shuts up, as you can probably tell. And I just said probably, with a lot of spluttering. Anyway, I am mad, I know. And Michael Caine, eh? What a bastard. Also, is it just me, or is Interstellar Christopher Nolan's funniest film that he's made so far? Like, he doesn't make out-and-out comedies, and he's actually said that he never wants to make out-and-out comedies, which is fair enough. He makes the films that he wants to make. You know, Christopher Nolan films. He's changed the face of blockbusters forever. Possibly, maybe, until someone else comes along and changes the face of blockbusters again. But, you know, the Nolanization of cinema has become rampant since The Dark Knight came out. And the point is, though, is that this is actually the funniest film, I think, that he's made in years, at least in terms of having humour in it and making you laugh as an audience member. Thanks a lot mainly to Tars the Robot, voiced by Bill Irwin, who I keep seeing more and more a lot recently in stuff like he was in The Grinch years ago as Cindy Lou Who's father in Who makeup, obviously, and I didn't know that until recently when I've seen Nostalgia Critic and CinemaSins videos about The Grinch and how shit it is. Why did I see it in the cinema when I was a kid? Oh right, because I was a kid and I loved The Grinch. Figures. But yeah, Bill Irwin, he was in that. And he was in CSI Vegas during the time in which Lawrence Fishburne took over from William Peterson when he left. And he was this serial killer that was dogging Lawrence Fishburne's character the whole time he was in it. And then eventually Lawrence Fishburne killed him, and there was this whole thing. That's where I first knew Bill Irwin very prominently. And he was also in Rachel Getting Married. Oh my god! I literally just, as I was saying this, immediately made the connection. Bill Irwin was in the film Rachel Getting Married, and Anne Hathaway is in Interstellar, and she was also in Rachel Getting Married because she was the main character in Rachel Getting Married. She wasn't Rachel in the Rachel Getting Married of the title, but she was in the film. And yeah, I'm rambling now, but I just figured it out now. Just realised, oh my god, he played Anne Hathaway's father in Rachel Getting Married, and now here they are again, except he's a robot in Interstellar. So go figure. And oh my god, the fifth dimensional stuff scene at the end with Matthew McConaughey. He'd gone through the black hole and he ejected from the ship and then just cascades through this weird, not even 3D environment, but 5D environment, because it's 5 dimensions. It's the fifth dimension. It's just, it was so well realised and so weird and awesome to behold and awe-inspiring. And I didn't even see the film in IMAX because they didn't have any available screenings anywhere at the time that I went to see it, and they don't have an IMAX in the Cineworld, which is where I saw it. They do in the Odeon, but I couldn't go and see Interstellar in IMAX at the time in which it was in the cinema still, and also they didn't have it at that day. Doesn't matter, Jack. Stop divulging details that nobody cares about. The point is that even on a regular cinema screen, which is big enough, it's still, the 5-dimensional scene looked amazing. And I really wanted to go into it not knowing exactly what it was going to look like a bit, and I didn't know exactly what it was going to look like, except that College Humor, like a month or two ago, released a video called What It Would Be Like to Have Sex with Christopher Nolan, something like that. I'm paraphrasing the title, and it actually ends the video having an Interstellar reference, a visual reference that at the time I didn't get, but I was kind of afraid was maybe a reference to what Interstellar was going to look like at the end of the film. And I was like, College Humor, if you have spoiled the film for me before I have seen it, I'm going to punch you in your soul, you bastards. Even though that's not physically possible, and also it's a web company YouTube channel, so you can't punch it unless you punch your computer screen. That said though, I am kind of disappointed that they spoiled that thing for me and I had to watch it and didn't put it in my watch later, because I should have known that it was going to have some kind of spoiler for a film by Christopher Nolan that happened to just come out now, and they would probably have a reference to something that you would have to have seen the film ahead of time before watching the video to not be spoiled, and whatever. It was an unfortunate turn of events. But that's just the way it goes. Didn't spoil it too much, it just meant that I kind of knew from the beginning, like within 5 minutes of the film starting, that Matthew McConaughey was the ghost making the things happen inside Murphy's room. Because I thought, oh, he's behind the bookcase. Not physically, but in some kind of way. How? I don't quite know yet. I don't understand the science of it because it's not going to explain it until later in the film, but it is him, and I only know that because of College Humor's video. So, that's good. Still didn't make it any less affecting emotionally and stuff. Then the whole film, I loved it. There were flaws, of course. There's always flaws in every film you ever watch. Some more than others because they're bad films, and others because they just have flaws that are misguided and they should have fixed them. And some films just are perfect in, you know, like you as an audience member appreciates a film and loves it, and you can still appreciate that there are flaws about it. And that comes in hand with Christopher Nolan films. There are always going to be flaws in his films, as with anyone else's films. Even so, I loved Interstellar, loved it so much, can't stop thinking about it even now, all these days later. I say that I watch any film and I can't stop thinking about it for days on end because I just have a good memory for films and stuff. But that's not the point. The point is that the film is just so good, and I can't wait until it's out on Blu-ray, and it'll probably do that thing like it did with the Dark Knight Rises Blu-ray, where it has the format of switching between regular widescreen and then what it looked like on IMAX, so widescreen and then IMAX, and it keeps going back and forth between that as you're watching the Blu-ray. And I don't think it'll be that much of a problem, because on the Dark Knight Rises it wasn't that much of a problem, I still enjoyed it. And with Interstellar, most of the film, more than any other film that Christopher Nolan has done with IMAX photography, and any other IMAX film in general, there's a lot of IMAX cinematography, so it will take up a lot more of the Blu-ray aspect ratio changing. You know? I don't know. I hope you know. Someone has to know here in this interface between person and viewer, right? Hopefully. I don't know. But, yeah. Do I have anything more to add here? No, don't think so. Yeah, this has been me in the spoiler zone. Oh, before you go, while I still have you, today, on the 23rd of December, which is when I've uploaded this video, today is my 5-year anniversary of being on YouTube. Huzzah! And that's great, I guess. Yeah, it is. I've been in here 5 years. That's kind of mind-boggling. Yeah, almost as much as a fifth-dimensional viewing of a single point in time. Ugh. No, point is that, yeah, 5 years on YouTube today, because I joined on the 23rd of December 2009, 23 yet again, of course, and yeah, that's great. And also in 2 days, of course, it's Christmas Day. So ahead of that, let me just say, if I can get this damn thing on. There we are. Merry Christmas! Ho, ho, ho! Yes, this shirt is very appropriate with this hat. Yes. Look at me. Look at me. I'm a little Father Christmas. Oh, 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 oh. I certainly have the stomach girth for it. Yes. So, yeah. Hope you have a good time opening presents and being with your family or whatever it is that you do on Christmas. And, yeah. I'll see you again whenever I shall see you. And, yeah. Bye. This is a weird hand wave. Perhaps I should stop it now. Why won't it stop? I don't know how to end videos, clearly.